Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. You see the title of this video, so let's go ahead and jump into this. The way this video came about was I was watching a lot of, I was reading a lot of travel news, and it brought to mind an article in the past that came up in which they were talking about a potential ban in Amsterdam on the Passport Bros. There was some journalist that was talking about the Passport Bros in Amsterdam and how I guess the government there they were thinking about trying to find ways to keep like non-citizens are coming to Amsterdam strictly for for tourism. And that I'll say the red light tourism. Let me put it that way. So they were, I believe when I was reading the article, they were doing things like having like little light stings in which they would send text out to potential passport bros and try to ask them like about their motivations of coming to Amsterdam and that kind of thing. They kind of put like a lid on it. And at the time when you're reading the article, as a matter of fact, I have the article up. This might not be the exact one. Originally, when I found out about this whole article, I was watching one of Big Truck's review because he was actually reviewing the article first. So anyway, this is probably like another uh, journalist who kind of piggybacked off that article. And as you can see, it says, "Can Amsterdam Stay Away campaign put an end to the passport bros?" And this is about the tourism in Amsterdam and how they're going to try to find different ways to keep them from coming in. So on the surface, when you look at this article in the campaign, you would say, "Oh man, the feminists really rose up in Amsterdam and they're putting a stop to the passport bros. They're speaking out." And then when you have the whole Austin Holloman situation, you start to think that dang, maybe these feminists they have a whole lot of influence in some of these countries to the point where they can kind of like stop us from finding wives or even traveling there. But what you start to find out is a lot of times the government, whenever they put certain campaigns in place, they don't necessarily have the best intentions, and sometimes they have some type of like ulterior motive. If you think about the fact when the government put into like the black community, like welfare and that kind of thing, on the surface you would say, oh, it's just there to kind of help out, struggling moms and that kind of thing. But there was a more sinister plot behind it in which they were trying to break up the family household. So a lot of times, some governments they'll secretly put a policy, like a program in place to make you think they're doing one thing, but really behind it, there's another ploy behind it. You say, where am I going with this? Because you're looking at the title and trying to figure out why did I even bring this up? But I say that to say this: when you read this article, it reads as if Amsterdam is kind of chasing out the passport bros, or like anyone who has that title should be very weary about going there. Not to mention the fact that Amsterdam is not really a spot where a lot of the passport bros tend to go anyways. Generally, and again, we can debate the definition of like passport bros and that kind of thing, but we talk about like male travelers in general, that's not really a hot spot where people go to really find like wives and that kind of thing. But nevertheless, um, what's interesting is I don't know if you've been watching. Well, I've been reading like news here and there recently. Let me show you this article. Amsterdam recently has set up what they're trying to do is let me get rid of this. Um, they're actually trying to build up this little erotic type center in Amsterdam. So you have to ask yourself if they're trying to get rid of the passport bros because all they want to do is go to the red light district. Why would Amsterdam suddenly be setting up like a new center in the red light district? Wouldn't that actually attract more passport bros? If their definition of passport bros is men who just kind of, let me put it this way, I guess, kind of monger, I guess. So why would they do something like that? Since they're so, pro, fem feminist, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to, YouTube to kind of, we'll leave it at that. So, but if they're so strong there, if the footism is so strong there, why would they suddenly start building like a little center there, which is going to attract more men, more visitors, and that kind of thing? And what you start to figure out is, let me show you something. Headed in Europe in 2024, you'll need this new travel document. So anywhere that before you can just travel straight to. I've actually I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to Germany. I've been to Ukraine. So I've been to various parts of Europe, and I didn't need any visa or anything like that. But now they're trying to make it where in 2024 you're going to need a visa to actually get into the country. Even though Trump said if he did become president, he's going to try to get rid of that. But so as you can see, they're trying to make it harder to get into Europe. And I know you're saying like, is this because of the passport bros? And it turns out that's not the reason. Here's another, and I'm going to tell you the reason. So here's the reason. Look at this. Cruises not welcome here. Inside the European cities, they're banning giant ships to curb, look, over tourism. So what's happening in Europe, even Amsterdam, is there's too many tourists going there. Not just passport bros, women, nomads, everything. And so it's gotten to the point where they're actually trying to stop cruises from going through there because they're receiving so many tourists. Look at all the tourists walking around here, near the ships. See, it says before the pandemic, the number was like every year about 4.8 million people join a cruise. It says before the pandemic, the number was even higher, sitting at about 30 million passengers. And what you're going to notice throughout this article, when they're talking about over tourism, because if you remember, a lot of the pastor bros have talked about how certain countries in Europe are actually paying people to come there. So what you're going to find out throughout this article, which is on Euro News, they're not really talking about Eastern Europe. All throughout this article, you're going to see like Venice. You're going to hear about Barcelona. As I said before, Amsterdam. All these Western European countries. See, there's France. France's biggest cruise. So basically, what they're saying in Western Europe, there's a overpop. There's like just so many tourists there. See, they're going to ban cruise ships, and as you see, they're going to make it now harder to get into Europe because they're trying to slow down so many tourism there. And what you're going to read in this article is, where is it at? The cruise article. The way they're going to do it to kind of limit, they're trying to find ways to limit tourism. So what they started doing was they're trying to find who can we eliminate or keep out to keep it low. So what that cause is that kind of that kind of push them towards this ban for the passport bros. So while on one hand they're trying to make it seem as if they were doing this noble thing of getting rid of the passport bros and keeping them from coming from the country, because that X tourism is, what's the word? It makes them look bad. On the surface, they're trying to make it seem like they're trying to do a noble thing. They're trying to clean up the country. But then on the other hand, they have this little center that they're building. So then you would say, is it really they're trying to ban the passport bros really because of that? No, it's because there's too many tourists there. So what they're trying to really do is see who really needs to get into the country and try to limit it more to those people. Anybody outside of that, for any other tourism reason, they're going to try to find some way to kind of weed you out. And this gives them an easy excuse. They can just say, well, we're just trying to clean the country. We don't want any eggs tourism people coming into the country. That's why we're keeping these people out. But really, when you look at this other article, this tells you that they don't care anything about this. Has nothing to do with morals and values and them being worried about X tourism. This is more about them trying to control the amount of tourists that are coming to Europe every year. I remember I was once on a plane and there was a guy I'm trying to think, where was I coming from? This might have been when I was coming back from Ukraine and I was on a plane and he said that he actually lives in Spain, but he's from the United States. He said there's actually a visa where I guess once you get retired, as long as you don't work, they would allow you to stay in their country. I think for I think it's almost like unlimited. And what you're going to find out, and I actually should have brought up the article. There's actually a lot of Americans moving towards, I believe it's Spain. A lot of them are moving to Spain. A lot of them moving to like Portugal because um, to some degree, cost of living was still cheaper than it is here in the United States, and also they'll give them the visas to do so. And also, a lot of people just said in general they don't really like the way that the U.S. is headed, like the culture and that kind of thing. So there's been a lot of Americans pretty much to the point where a lot of the locals there are, as you can see, they're getting very tired of so many non citizens flooding their countries and inflating like the price of rent and food and that kind of thing. I believe it was in Spain, if I'm correct. So a lot of the Spain people there were so when I was telling about the guy on a plane, that's the reason why he said he couldn't work. So one of the limitations was, yeah, we'll let you come, but you can't work because they also are worried about um, people from other countries coming there and taking the jobs that they do have and that kind of thing. So yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. I have been so much thinking about you know because I remember back when Big Truck had covered that article, and I was just like, because we had got attacked in Brazil, and then I saw in Amsterdam. I'm just saying, okay, is this going to be some type of like worldwide thing where here and there we got this stuff kind of popping up? But after I saw this, I said, oh, okay, so it's kind of like a put it this way, because it didn't make any sense. Because I was just like, technically it's legal there, just like in Brazil, it's legal there. So technically, even when Austin was there, even if he was participating in that, it's legal. It's nothing. There's nothing legal about it, and it brings, overall, that's their way of bringing extra money to the government and that kind of thing. So why would it, it just seemed very weird. It just seemed very weird, plus with Amsterdam being right close, which is the Netherlands, being very close to, there's, I want to say a big portion of our whole Western Europe is legal in a lot of those countries there, period. It used to be, I think, legal in France, but I think recently they kind of, them in Norway, they cut it down to some type of policy where they'll charge like the men, but the women won't be charged or something like that. Even in the United States, Kamala Harris is talking about trying to do something similar like that in the United States. But I said it to say that it's just very, ironic that I thought they were trying to ban passport bros because of some type of noble, thing, or even to the point of, I thought maybe the feminists had really, what's the word, organized together and they really pushed them, the politicians really do it. But it turns out, just looking at all the evidence, I'm convinced it has nothing to do with it. I think it just has more, this is more like to say, political theater. They want to seem like they're really doing something noble by keeping certain. So pretty much they can block certain Americans or certain people from the UK and just say, "Oh, we didn't let them in because too many of them are like passport bros who engage in this." And really, it's just a way of limiting tourism. Because what they're going to probably ask people is, "Why do you want to come into the country?" If a guy says, "Oh, I just want to go around and tour, see the city," they're probably going to ask you what kind of countries you went to. And then after that, if it seems like there's countries where a lot of similar activities go on, they're probably just going to try to label you as a passport bro and say, "Hey, you can't come," or they're going to limit the amount of time you can come. They might say, "Oh, you can only stay for about a month," or something like that. So this is just their government's way of finding ways to kind of keep people out. So it has nothing really to do with honor or integrity or anything like that. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention that this is going on. And of course, you do have this new, which is kind of stupid. It kind of reminds me of, because recently Brazil, I think, was trying to do something similar. And really, I had heard Brazil had did that because they're trying to use it as a negotiation tactic, with the United States. But this is just another annoyance. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last. But as of now, with them, having too many tours, they're probably going to try to really push this a lot. But here's the thing. I'm going to end with this. Passport bros in general, we generally don't really go to Western Europe especially. I might go there just to see the sights, but Yeah, other than that, I mean, most passport bros, include myself, I'm mainly a guy that likes to go to Colombia, Brazil, that kind of thing, and I really like Thailand as well. So even that little ban they tried to have, that didn't really affect us at all. Anyway, even if they had been for noble purposes, most of us weren't there anyway. So if anything, most of the passport bros who do go to Europe, they generally are going to Eastern Europe, like say Ukraine, Belarus, some parts of some people haven't even been in Russia. Like there's like was it Czech Republic, all these other different countries. But I'm gonna end it on that. You guys just tell me what you think about this whole situation, about this new visa requirement in Europe. Do any of you ever travel to Europe? Do you care? Does it really matter? What do you think about the whole ban in Europe and Amsterdam type thing, and finding out that more than likely this is just the government's way of limiting people that can go on tour in Amsterdam? So please leave your comments. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.
Dear Passport Boys, dear Passport Bros, stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Are you going to the Philippines to look for a Filipina queen or what? So stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Start calling yourself Passport Kings.